Good afternoon once again, everyone. We want to welcome everyone to the Queens DA's office once again. Today we're here to announce a 120-count indictment of 10 alleged members and associates of the transnational street gang Tren de Aragua, or TDA. 5 of the defendants are charged with top count of criminal sale of a firearm in the first degree. It's a B-violent felony. They face a potential of 25 years in jail if they are convicted. 5 others are variously indicted on charges including criminal possession of a weapon in the first degree, criminal possession of a firearm, and other crimes. Those defendants face a potential and a maximum of 15 years. I'd like to take this moment to thank all of our law enforcement partners once again, including those in Texas and in Florida, for their diligence in tracking down and apprehending these individuals. Several of the indicted defendants are also indicted on charges of selling and possessing Tusi, a pink cocaine, a designer street drug that includes a mixture of ketamine and MDMA, or ecstasy. All 10 of them are charged with conspiracy to possess and sell illegal firearms in New York City. We allege that as members and associates, they trafficked weapons and made money in furtherance of TDA's agenda. And as they seek to establish themselves in New York City, we are individually dismantling them. We believe that this is the first case in New York that charges this behavior of criminal, organized, and purposeful involving conspiracy to distribute illegal firearms motivated by gang membership, in this case, TDA. This investigation started, and I want to thank, by the way, I apologize, I came right in and started, but we have today with us our commissioner, our PC, and we thank Jessica Tisch for the great work that her department does every single day. And I would also like to thank, on a personal level, the commissioner for her dedication to the great city of New York for decades. I also want to thank Chief Kenny, head of the detectives, for the work of his people and the work that they do every single day to protect our communities. And John Sennett is here from my office. He is head of the Violent Criminal Enterprise Bureau, and we'll go through other attendees later on. I want to make it clear that this investigation started in January of 24, a year ago. Working with NYPD, we became aware of gun trafficking in the city of New York. As the investigation progressed, we became aware that self-admitted TDA members were trafficking weapons on a large scale, and their criminality extended well beyond the 5 boroughs and included Connecticut, Pennsylvania, Texas, Florida, Colorado, and plans to expand on an international level to Colombia. My office, in close partnership with the NYPD, initiated Operation Train Derail, and we all assigned our best people to this investigation. We learned that Defendant Blanco allegedly served as the hierarchical head of this clique. Defendant Meza acted as his second-in-command and reported directly to Blanco in matters relating to the trafficking of firearms. There is a hierarchical picture over there, if you want to grab it. According to this investigation, defendants Blanco and Meza are both Venezuelan nationalists who came to New York approximately 2 years ago and have since established a gun-running crew comprised of other nationals. Defendants Aguilar, Rondon, Cruz, and Sanchez served as firearms couriers, and they received portions of the financial proceeds from the sales that they facilitated. They reported to Meza. Defendant Zambrano also reported directly to Blanco, and she was tasked with the negotiation and trafficking of firearms between buyers in New York and out-of-state suppliers. Defendants Sosa and Meta acted as sources of firearms for the TDA network. As part of this conspiracy, the defendants, using WhatsApp, helped traffic and sell weapons in Queens, the Bronx, and elsewhere. We will now show a short video clip sent over WhatsApp in an undercover at advertising guns and drugs for sales. That is an advertisement, ladies and gentlemen. During the course of this investigation and the subsequent arrest, we recovered 34 guns, including 4 semi-automatic pistols and 2 assault weapons, all of which are capable of untold harm in our communities. 30 of them were part of this indictment. There were at least 22 firearm transactions during the pendency of this case. This group was very open in its dealings. In one instance, the defendant transported an AR-15 wrapped in a black garbage bag for sale in the Bronx County. This buy occurred in the afternoon, 3:45 in the afternoon, in front of a residential building. 5 transactions between October 30th and December 10th occurred in the vicinity of the Target parking lot. Many of you know that parking lot on 20th Avenue in College Point. And by the way, all the sales there were between 1 and 3:30 in the afternoon. Sales at these locations also include 9 semi-automatic pistols and 30 grams of Tusi. All 22 firearm sales charged on this indictment occurred within the city. The going rate for an assault weapon, just so everyone is clear, is $2,500 to $2,800. Loaded and operable handguns sold between $1,200 and $1,800. This group was very entrepreneurial. They really made sure that this business was run like a clock. According to this indictment, they bought from friendly states, brought them here to sell. They stole firearms that were proceeds of burglaries and car break-ins from other states. They relied on use of rental vehicles to come up the iron pipeline and sell them to people in the city of New York. They were aware that they can make money in the city of New York, and they even discussed potentially smuggling them into Colombia. Due to the success of this investigation, those plans never came to fruition. There's a lot of uncertainty in the world today, but the mission of this office and the mission of NYPD remains very steady. We need to rid the borough and the city of guns. We need to rid the borough and the city of those that would bring the poison into our city and sell them to our children. They cause too much heartache in our communities. And I know, as I call on the police commissioner to say a few words, that she shares that sentiment, and she's working every single day to make sure we get the guns off the street. Commissioner Tisch.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. I want to start by thanking our extraordinary Queens District Attorney, Melinda Katz, and her team of assistant DAs who worked hard to bring forth today's indictment. And of course, the dedicated detectives of the NYPD's Firearms Suppression Section. I am proud to announce that NYPD detectives have successfully intercepted and I am proud to announce that NYPD detectives has successfully intercepted and shut down a significant Tren de Aragua pipeline of guns into New York City. As part of this investigation, 8 Tren de Aragua gang members were arrested for criminal sale of firearms, and 2 additional members who have also been indicted remain outstanding. Rest assured, our warrant section and our regional fugitive task force are hot on the trail of the 2 outstanding individuals. As part of this investigation, NYPD detectives recovered 34 guns, including 2 ghost guns, one being an AR-15, and a Glock pistol modified to fire like a fully automatic machine gun. 6 of these weapons were reported stolen from other states across the country, including Colorado, Pennsylvania, and Texas. TDA is a dangerous transnational gang that has specialized in murder, trafficking, and mayhem. This comes on the heels of the NYPD's participation in yesterday morning's action with our federal partners that led to the Bronx arrest of Anderson Zambrano Pacheco for burglary and firearm possession, as well as kidnapping, extortion, and menacing. I want to be extremely clear. The NYPD will always work with our federal and our local partners to take down international gangs like TDA, who would wreak havoc on this city. Last week, we had a milestone of over 20,000 guns seized since Mayor Adams took office. And investigations like the one we are announcing today made that milestone possible. I want to thank the dedicated women and men of the NYPD who do this dangerous work. Each of these gun buys is a high-stakes gamble where a single misstep could mean the difference between life and death. Their only protection is their wit, their training, and unseen backup ready to intervene at a moment's notice. Specifically, I want to commend Detective Vila and his entire team, especially the undercover detectives, for their work on this case, and to all the members of this department who make our city safer every day. Thank you. Do you have anything to add, Chief?
I'd like to ask Chief Kenny, please, to say a few words.
Good afternoon. As the Commissioner was stating, this is truly a transnational gang that we see has ties all over New York City, in the Bronx, Manhattan, Queens, and Yonkers. But they also touch Florida, Georgia, Texas, Colorado, and Indiana. This crew alone has previous arrests for attempted murder, firearms trafficking, assault on a police officer, gun possession, robbery, burglary, grand larceny, and sex offenses. And to be clear, during yesterday's case takedown, one of these perpetrators fractured the arm of one of the detectives so severely that he's scheduled to have surgery later this week. So I just want to thank John Sennett. I want to thank Melinda Katz and the police commissioner for your participation and cooperation in this case. Thank you very much.
Yes, the injury to the police officer upon the arrest this morning is under investigation, and charges will most likely be followed. I also want to thank, besides John Sennett, Barry Frankenstein, who is the deputy. I want to thank Mr. Sanchez, Andre Sanchez, who is the lead ADA on this case. I would like to thank my chief assistant, Jennifer Nyberg, and Jerry Brave, who is the executive over investigations. This took a lot of work, guys. This is an arrest, an indictment that took over a year of investigation. We convened a special grand jury in order to make the presentation, in order to get the indictment. And I am very grateful that all of these guns are off the street today. We'll take questions on topic.
Madam District Attorney, Darla Miles, WABC. What happens to these defendants today? Will they stand trial here in New York, or will they be taken into custody by ICE and deported based on the indictment?
My job is to make sure that I get the guns off the street, and I hold people accountable who will sell them in my borough and in the city of New York. Three of them have been arraigned this morning in our court system. I'd like to thank Judge Vallone for the work that he did on that. Two of them are outstanding, as the commissioner said, and we are still looking for those two individuals. And the others are all in custody variously throughout Florida and Texas and New York. From my perspective, they will stay here, they will stand trial, and they will serve their time for bringing guns into my borough.
For the commissioner, if I may, morning. On the Bronx case, how long was that under investigation for? And then I just have some follow-ups, if I can, on that.
So on the Bronx case, we have members of the NYPD assigned as TFOs as part of an HSI task force. And yesterday they participated in executing an arrest warrant in the Bronx, as I described.
Yeah, but how long was that investigation? Do you know?
He said that investigation itself was initiated by Homeland Security investigations. We just participated in the apprehension. That arrest warrant was issued by a judge in Aurora, Colorado, and we assisted in the execution of that arrest warrant.
Because there's an SDNY case as well now.
The SDNY case, they assisted in writing search warrants for electronics.
And then just for the commissioner, I just want to ask you about the effect of these ICE operations across the city.
We're going to stay on topic for now, please, if I can. This was a takedown that took a year's work. We have dozens of guns off the street right now, and we are holding them accountable.
I'm getting to ask. I could wait till the end?
If you can, that'd be great. Why don't we do it that way? Why don't you wait for the end if you want to go off topic? That would be great. Right now, we really want to make sure that this was really a gun trafficking case. And although we are also under federal and state law, it is my job to hold people accountable in the borough of Queens County, and it's my job to make sure that we indict those that would bring the guns in, that we prosecute them, and we get a conviction for them. And they serve the time that they need to serve.
Can we source these guns? Are they some ghost guns or some real guns? What can you share with us about the evidence that we see before us?
No, I can do it with you.
Go ahead.
Correct me if I'm wrong, everybody. This is a ghost gun. This is a renovated gun to be be semi-automatic, and this is a switch. This one? Oh, this is a switch, made to be an automatic. So it's one ghost gun, one renovated weapon, and an automatic.
Jennifer with CBS, can you talk about the gun problem or the gun initiative here in New York City and how this is helping save lives?
What's interesting to me is that we can actually count the number of arrests that are made, the number of indictments that are made, the number of prosecutions and convictions that we get. What we can never count is how many lives are saved because we got these guns off the street. And I think that's an important thing to remember, which is the more guns we get off the street, the more we're saving lives beforehand and not just prosecuting for them afterwards. And that's why the gun initiatives are so important. It's why the NYPD in my office do gun buybacks to make sure that people can return guns without questions asked. It's why we make sure to get them before any other injuries take place.
Can you tell us what kind of presence Tren de Aragua has here in New York City? This is the first time we're really hearing something about a takedown. We've heard about them nationally, but this is one takedown. Can we get the scope of what impact criminally and what kind of presence they have here in New York City?
So currently, we have 67 documented members of TDA in New York, with an additional 27 members of Los Diablos 42, which is kind of the minor league for Tren de Aragua. We first started seeing the emergence of them when the migrant population started to come into New York around 2023, participated mostly in organized retail theft and in robberies where they utilized scooters to either forcibly steal or snatch cell phones.
Follow up on that, and you guys can confirm if they are working as a group in the entire country or they are individually committing crimes on the city. And a second question is if you guys can release the legal status of these people.
As of right now, I'll answer the second question first. The legal status is that they entered the country illegally from the southern border, and they all 10 of these subjects are Venezuelan citizens. As far as the first question?
If they are working as a group in the entire country, they are communicating each other, or they are individually... Very transient. They move from city to city. It seems that when they're wanted in one location, they move to the next. As we can see from yesterday's case takedown, this perpetrator was wanted for kidnapping in Aurora, Colorado, and eventually made his way to New York, where he was arrested for firearms possession and robbery.
Can you clarify the 67? I'm sorry, quick follow-up. 67 in custody, 67 at large.
67 that have met our criteria, our NYPD very strict criteria to be entered into our criminal group database. So are there more? Yes, there's more, but we've identified 67.
District Attorney.
To be clear, in this indictment, by the way, the individuals, Meza and Blanco, came in 23. And it was a conspiracy charge based on the TDA involvement as well.
District Attorney. An infant was photographed on a bed of cash that was used in a gun buy.
Yes.
Can you describe to us how that infant was found and the welfare of that child?
That's the search warrant. You want to go through it? You want me to?
No.
No.
I'm going to comment on a child.
So we're not going to comment on a child. We will say that we had a search warrant for that house and a search warrant on a car. When the police went in to make the arrest, the child was there with Sanchez, and that's all I'm going to say about a child in this particular case.
Chief Detectives, could you talk about more details about what happened with the officer, how he was injured? He's going to be done.
During the course of the apprehension, the perpetrator broke free from the officer and ran behind a door. As the officer was chasing him, his arm got stuck between the door and the door jamb, and the perpetrator slammed the door on his arm, fracturing it severely enough that he requires surgery.
More on topic?
Just so everybody knows, by the way, the three individuals that were arrested this morning were all remanded. Everyone in this indictment is in custody throughout the country, except for two that we are still looking for. Is that it? Any more questions? Anything else on topic?
So I actually, these weapons, were there any of them used in any shootings? I didn't read through paperwork or anything. Have we been able to
So just based on the undercover nature of this investigation, these guns have not been fully traced yet. That will be part of our investigation going forward.
Thanks, folks.
If I could do off topic.
Oh,
Oh, you want to do it? We can do it now.
No, let's do it for everybody, 'cause we all have the same questions.
So again, on the ICE operations, and, just the effect that some of this is having here in the communities. I'm wondering if there's anything you're hearing from community members, immigrant communities. Is there concern from a law enforcement perspective that you could potentially lose cooperation from these individuals because they may be afraid to call 911, they may be afraid to deal with the police because they're afraid of revealing their status?
We're being painfully clear on our intentions and our participation in these operations. We, the NYPD, are not participating in any civil enforcement of immigration laws. What we are participating in is investigations and operations involving criminals. All right? If you're a migrant in New York City, you can go about your life, no problem. But the minute you break the law, you become a criminal. Then you become our problem.
Right. I understand that, but I'm not sure that message is clear to these individuals. And I think just from an optics perspective, I know in Chicago, the superintendent there said that he's already seeing signs that people may not be reporting crimes. And I'm just wondering if you're seeing any of that here.
So I just want to be very clear that nothing about this department's posture has changed in the past week or the past several weeks. The mayor has been very clear that we are going to go after criminals regardless of their immigration status. Thank you.